Well, it's a beautiful evening and I'm out here in my freshly cleaned out, rearranged garage. I'll give you the real quick tour. I'm going to do a longer one here soon, but anyway, I can get around my car now. I can come over here and I'll lay around it. That was the goal. Now I got a bunch of stuff hung up out of the floor, etc., etc., etc. So that's a good thing. Happy about that. I can actually function in this one car garage now. So I was over here working on the engine in this Fury, just picking away at it, and I was putting my belts on, tried to, and I ran into a snag. The power steering belt's fine, it's it over there, but I just got done reinstalling my alternator. This is my nice, freshly repainted and spruced up single groove alternator pulley alternator, and so I was getting ready to put the belt on, and that's where the snag came in. This is the one that came off the engine originally, and I took all this stuff apart about 3 months ago, and it's a Daco. Can't see it, it's upside down, but this is a 15545, and you see how long this belt is. If I can back up enough, anyway, that's about how long it is. It's actually a 54 and a half inch belt. And so when I put on the engine, it's just got to go from the crank pulley around the water pump up there. You can hardly see that, and then around here. But when I tried to use that belt, it was like all the way out here, and that is never going to work. So it then quickly occurred to me what was going on with that. What was going on with it was when I got this car and I started taking this engine apart, the accessories off of it, I quickly, when I was starting to paint things and spruce them up, ready to put them back on, I quickly realized that the alternator, not only did it had the right alternator, meaning it had a round, what they call a round back alternator, but it had the right alternator with the wrong pulley. It had a double groove pulley, and I've seen that a lot on cars like this, of this era. People will do that. They don't get the right alternator. Double groove alternator pulley is for air conditioning, single is for without, and this one's supposed to have a single and does not have any air conditioning on it. So it had the double, and people say, well, you can run a double. Well, there's two reasons I don't want to run a double groove pulley on the alternator, and well, number one is it's not supposed to be there, and it looks dumb to have one empty groove, and number two, on this one, it didn't line up exactly right. It was a little bit catawampus to the back or the front, whichever it was. I think it was kind of toward. Here he comes. Here he comes. Check it out. But the man. Let's see. That's pretty tame this time. He's a hero to his ego. So anyway, where was I? Now that's what I'm saying about there's always a damn distraction going on every time. That's why I gotta get out of here. Anyway, somebody got on to me for ranting. I was like, gee. Anyway, back to this. You don't want to use that double groove pulley because it just if you're gonna do things right, you want to do it right. So let's get to the point. The point is this brackets and everything that I was in possession of turned out to be from a mid-70s 400 or 440 okay, mid-70s 400 or 440 engine, which is a big block like this one, but it was for an air conditioning application, which means it had different brackets to hold the alternator on. It had a big cast steel bracket, or cast aluminum, I think it was aluminum, that kind of bolted in over at the front right there. It was actually supposed to have an idler pulley on it, and that's all for air conditioning. So unless I put back all the wrong brackets back on it, I couldn't use it. So I didn't want to use it. So what I did was, I think I got a light over here. I can shed some light on this subject. It's my neat little Harbor Freight multi-light. There we go. This is the bracket for this exact application. You've got a triangle bracket there. Bolts on in a couple different places. You've got a couple spacers for the long bolt in the alternator, and then you've got the small bolt down here with the long adjusting, if you can see that from the back there, slider down there, as you may call it. So anyway, that's what's supposed to be on here, and you can get this reproduction. You can get an aftermarket reproduction version. So that's what I'm doing, and let's get to the point again. The point is it had to have a much shorter belt. So believe it or not, all the parts stores actually carry this belt. This is probably because it's for something else too. I'm sure it is. But this is a Daco 15455. It is a 45-inch belt, which won't come off there. So you can see it's going to be quite a bit shorter, and I'm real happy about it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those belts on, and like I said, I'm picking away at this. We're getting down to start day pretty soon. Got all the wires, plug wires on, most everything done on the engine, all this detail stuff, which I'm going to go through all that. I know there's some people want to see how this is done, and I'll just tell you this: I've tried to put this thing back as correct as it could be possibly made, and that's with the exception of this alternator. This alternator is a lot later alternator. It's a square back alternator, but I'm using it anyway, and it has a reserve bottle somebody's added into it, which I'm going to keep. But I've tried to do this thing as close to original as possible, and I'll show you also, maybe as a part of that same video when I get to making it. Somebody sold one of these cars, the exact same car right here is this one. Same color, same year, everything, option the same. I think it had it might have air conditioning, but it was like virtually no difference in it, and they sold that thing for nearly $10,000. And I was looking, I've saved all the pictures to that ad because I wanted to use it as a reference. But when I was looking at the engine, I noticed a lot of things on that engine bay of that car, that Fury, that were wrong, and people tend to do that. You know, they restore one and they say the engine bay's been restored. Well, it's not restored when you've put the wrong clamps and the wrong, you routed hoses the wrong way, and you're missing brackets, and you know, got the wrong air cleaner and all this stuff. So I'm going to show you all that stuff in that video. And I'm not trying to pick somebody's car apart necessarily, but you know, I want to show you what it takes to actually do stuff the right way. Like you see that throttle return spring right there with the green with the orange stripe. That's a reproduction. That's exactly the one that's supposed to be on this engine. And so you know, there's a big difference between doing it most of the way and doing it correct, and I'm going to hopefully show you the correct way to do all this. But anyway, enough yakking. I got to get busy so I can do this before it gets dark on me. And one thing I'm going to do coming up too is I'm going to go ahead, and I've got my dash that I did my prep work on. I got it in the bedroom back there, and it's ready to be painted. So I had to wait all winter to do that because it was just too cold. So it's getting warm now, and I'm going to go grab the paint, and I'm going to paint that dash and start putting all that back together. And yeah, man, so I'm happy about it. I'm really, you know, my brother and everybody gets impatient with me because it takes me so long to do things, but I'm just, you know, this is a rare car, you know, not rare, but it's just a low production car, and it deserves to be done the right way every step of the way, and that's what's going to happen with it. So thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for watching, and hope everything's good in your world. See you guys.